Awesome. Okay. So, welcome to this episode of Gents Talk, a series by Gents Post coming to you from the Startwell studio in Toronto. Sponsored by BULOVA, our friends at BULOVA, and then our fits are by Got Style, so thank you very much to them. Today we've got a very special and a very funny guest, one that I've been excited to talk to since the last time we talked in November. I was looking it up. That was the last time we talked. And a lot has happened since November. We got Neema Naz. Yeah. What's going on, buddy?
What's up?
How you doing?
Good. It's great to be here. I feel like I'm in an MBA interview. I'm just glad to be a part of this organization and ready to start a new journey.
Very nice, very nice. Was there anything about this team that just stood out to you?
Yeah, my guy. I'm just like impersonating LeBron. My guy, CB1, D Wade.
So the last time we talked, you were just sort of hitting your stride. We talked about a lot of interesting stuff. And if it's all right with you, I want to go over some of that stuff again because I want to know where you've been on your journey. Like there's some interesting stuff. But firstly, what was it like meeting Gary Vee? Because when we talked about that, you were telling me how much of an inspiration the guy was to you. So for you to like finally meet him and for him to call you out on one of his shows too, that must have been dope.
Yeah, that was a very surreal experience for sure. I think I just manifested that, but at the same time, it's with the hard work. You have to still work for it. You can manifest shit, but that doesn't mean anything unless you work at it, right? So, yeah, in my mind, I'm like, every day, I'm going to meet him one day. I'm going to meet him one day. I'm going to keep doing these videos. I'm going to meet him one day. And then after, I guess, 2 years of doing impressions of him, finally his team reached out. And they're like, hey, we want you to be a part of Ask Gary Vee. This is like his podcast first. And then they're like, oh, by the way, like he's doing his first like conference in May or June or whatever. Would you like to be a part of it? And I was like, what the fuck? 100%. Definitely, right? No, I was losing. I was like, this is crazy. This wouldn't have happened if I didn't just start making content. Like literally like he says. Yeah. Taking his whole ethos of what he does, taking it into my own life and just doing it, and it got me to there. And it's just, I don't know.
Did that bump up
so
the numbers?
simple.
Like, did you see a big bump from his endorsement or him bringing you a VCon?
Yeah, a little bit. It wasn't anything crazy, but yeah, definitely more and more people started recognizing me or seeing my stuff, coming to my page. Yeah,
must have been good validation that your work is like, you put in the effort, you put in the work. People are starting to recognize it. The people that you wanted to recognize it are recognizing it. Because you also did some stand up for some pretty big names. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah. I opened for this comedian Moz Jabrani, and he's a big comedian in Iranian culture. I guess he's a big Iranian Persian comedian from LA. And before I even started comedy, I would watch his stuff on TV. And same with Russell Peters. Like Russell Peters is my big inspiration. I haven't obviously worked with him yet, but I will.
Yet.
I like that.
Manifest it.
Yeah.
So you know what's coming.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Moz was one of those guys I kind of, because he's like same culture, I looked up to him a lot, and then I finally got his attention, and he asked me to open for him. No, that's the same thing. Like I always manifest this shit, and I just keep working on my craft, and eventually it's gonna happen. I just tell myself eventually it's gonna work out, and it keeps working out. So it might take a while, but it's worth it when it does happen.
And how do you deal with the times where things aren't going the right way?
It's super tough, but I have to keep reminding myself that I have the right people around me, and that's what really matters. And that's what keeps me going and keeps me on the right path. Like having my brother as my manager, having a team behind me, it's not, I look at it as like when I do have these rough days or times, I always think about it as it's not just me anymore. There's a whole operation going on. So I can't slack. I can't dwell on what just happened or whatever, right? It's like something, performing in a poor way, like, you know what I'm saying? So
I want to ask you about something. I saw a video that you posted about some not so nice comments about you and some of the work that you do, calling you racist, misogynistic. Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about.
I do that shit all the time. Which one?
Yeah. The thing I wanted to bring up was when I was talking to Russell, he, I get to say that now, like, you know, him and I are buddies. Yeah. So one of the things he talked about was how hard it is for newer comedians to really build their craft in a time when everything is sort of up for debate, what you can and can't say.
Mm-hmm.
How are you navigating that?
I look at as social media as a tool. We have an advantage over older comedians.
Just keep
like
that,
you said, right?
If you can, just keep that. Yeah.
We actually have an advantage over older generations of comedians and whoever. But it's just it's that the hate and the comments that can get to people, and it's gotten to me a couple times, but not really. I mean, more like there's times where I'll look at him like, wow, like Jesus Christ. Like so much fucking hate. Like, what's wrong with you guys, right? But then most of the time it's all positive, which is good too. But I also the Gary Vee method of like not seeing the highs or the lows really helps. Of like, yeah, sure, you know, there's some haters, but if you look too much on the positives as well, you'll get in your head and you think you're the king.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think that way. I want to think that there's always something to work on and grow on. So.
Do you think people are extra sensitive now? It's like you can't say anything. You can't, like, with comedy, it's all about, you know, sort of bending the rules with the race and, you know, gender and all this stuff. And in this day and age, it's like everyone's so sensitive. You're like, it's just relax. It's just a joke, right? Well, I mean, do you get a lot of that? Like, do you feel that?
Yeah. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but
just got to be prepared for the.
Yeah, you just want to prepare for the backlash.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to be comfortable of the backlash. But no, I mean, I'm not a very offensive person. I don't think. Like, I push the boundary with race, cultural stuff, but that's just who I am. It's like that's how I grew up. You know.
Yeah.
The thing I realized that makes it very easy for me to get past the negativity is that I have the full context of my life. Those people don't have context of my life. So obviously they're going to judge a book by its cover and say what they want. But also, there's also just jealousy and people who just don't want to see you win. And they want to bring you down because they can't do it for themselves. So I actually feel sorry for those people and I feel sad for those people because I wish they could also have what I'm working on, which is I think very special. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of do what I want that makes me happy. And I do it out of love, obviously, too. And I want to represent people, not bring them down. But along the way, there are instances where it might come off as, you know, shitting on someone or whatever. But it's like it's not my intention.
Yeah,
that's why this is. That's why this is important because I get to express my thoughts and people can understand where the fuck I'm coming from. But yeah, that's pretty much how I look at it.
So comedy obviously is a huge influence for you, a huge factor. And I know you've shared the story with me, but maybe you can share the story with everybody else of how you sort of came across comedy, that one moment.
Yeah, it was, when I was a younger kid, and my dad and I would watch Just for Laughs together. But more, I didn't care about Just for Laughs. I care about Russell Peters on the screen, you know. And he was definitely one of the first inspirations. I was like, oh wow, this fucking Indian guy is on stage talking about Asians and Indian people and black people and white people, and people are laughing. And I'm like, wow, this is so unique. I've never seen this before. And that definitely sparked a lot of interest in my mind and my body subconsciously without even knowing, because that's my sense of humor as well. But I didn't know that at a young age, right? It's like you're very naive until I grew up and I realized, oh shit, I'm pretty much like, I'm what Russell Peters is, you know, as a young kid, I think. I don't know. And then that's just kind of how I went with my life. So you were if I remember correctly, you were at UFT, was it? And then you dropped out. Mm-hmm. What triggered that? Well, I always lived my life making decisions because of other people's opinions. And for once in my life, when I found something that I really liked, I was like, oh, I have to do this for me for once. I have to make this decision for myself for once. And be willing to deal with the responsibilities and the risks.
Did your parents support it?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really get it at first because they're like, oh, like we just paid all this money for you to go to university and study this fucking mediocre program that I don't give a fuck about.
What was the program?
It was kinesiology.
Okay.
Like I was gonna become a teacher. Like nothing against teachers. I think I could actually be a great teacher, and I would have done it if I didn't find comedy. But when I found comedy, I was like, "There's no way I can't try." Like I've always been the funny guy. People always say, "Oh, you're so funny. Like you make me laugh." But I'm like, why can't I do that professionally? And so that's when I just made the decision. It clicked for me, and I just dropped out, and I didn't even tell them. I dropped out, and then I told them.
How'd they react?
And then, they were disappointed at first, and my mom was crying. She said, "Oh, how you gonna make money? How you gonna do this? How you gonna do that?" Right? And my dad's like, "Oh, like, just paid all this fucking money." And I'm like, "Yeah, I get it. I'm sorry, but I have to do this for me." Because I always tell all my friends and everyone else who is stuck in this realm of like only one way to succeed, which is going through university and getting a degree. Yeah. I'm like, yo, if your parents die tomorrow, are you still happy doing what you're doing? Like, are you doing it for them or for you, right? Mm-hmm. So what's the point if they're gone? And that's the way I see it. I'm like they're going to be gone for like 30, 40 years pretty much as I'm still doing my careers. And like, when I'm going to waste the rest of my life because they wanted me to do it, right? And I'm like, no, I can't.
But there's so many people stuck.
Oh, they're stuck.
Place,
right? A lot of my friends are like that. A lot of people I know. And I try to get to their heads, but they're like, no, I have to because of this, because of religion, or because of this, or because of that. I'm like, you guys are all fucking idiots, in my opinion. I don't give a fuck. I'll say that in public.
Do what you want.
Yeah.
And like, you just got to just do it for you because that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so hard. And so you're saying, like, people, you have to try to, like, appease other people.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to surprise.
I know.
So, how do you really feel when you realize, you know what? I got this. It's just me. I'm going to just do it because this is what I want. Like, how was, like, getting to that point?
Yeah. It's the most liberating feeling, man.
Yeah.
When did you get there? Like, because I'm just figuring this out now. I'm 37, and I'm like, you know what? I want to wake up happy every day, right? Mm-hmm. And there's so many ways to do this. This is not 1999 anymore, or in the 80s. We don't need to go and do those old ways of living. You could literally, make a living from this device right here, and people are doing it, right? So it's like, find your happiness and just do that, and just, it's really hard to get there. It's easier said than done, and then not give a fuck what people think, especially family, right? Yeah. So like you realizing that is a big thing, and I think you're like, I hear you talking about in your content and all that, and it's it's inspiring to see that, right? It's, even in your circles, you forget how many people are actually stuck in that and live their lives for their parents or for their community or their culture or their religion. So
it's sad to see,
right? Because
I mean, like, it is easier said than done, but also, I don't know, I just feel like life is too short, and if you just zoom out and see the bigger picture of life, like, you're just gonna do one thing. I could actually do comedy for like 30 more years, and then after 30 years, be like, I'm done, and then do another passion of mine.
Have 30 years to
so more, it's like, I sound like Gary Vee, but it's the truth, bro. Because he would say the same shit. Like, you can fucking do 30 more years and find another fucking passion, okay? Right? But like, it's the truth, bro. It's the fucking truth.
It's better in person than it is in video. Holy.
It's the truth though, because like, I'm a drummer. Like, I love music, and I actually try to incorporate that into my comedy too all the time. Like, when I do dances with my mom, or I don't know, I love music. I like to dance or sing or whatever it is, and it's like, why can't I do that too? It's like, why does it have to be just the one? Everyone's like, oh, like, you have to stick to one thing, and that's how you become a master at it. I'm like, yeah, well, fuck that. I'll be a master at 2-3 things then. I don't know. Why can't I? So, I don't know. That's just, you have to change your mind. You just have to.
So it's a mindset thing.
It's all mindset. With anything in life.
How was, like, I didn't know you did stand up until I was watching some of your stuff earlier. I've always seen your skits.
Yeah.
And I always thought, like, stand up it's got to be so hard. Like, how do you deal with bombing? Because obviously you've bombed and you're going to bomb again. That happens
all day.
But like
all day, baby.
Like, it's got to be so hard. Like, for me, I've always, like, I'm no comedian, but like, everyone thinks they're funny, right? But like, to actually go up on stage and stand up and actually have the guts to go back after you've bombed. Like, how do you, after like you're bombing first, and how do you get to that? What do you say to yourself to get, okay, I got this? How do you?
Well, first I fucking cry myself to sleep.
Yeah.
After I bomb the first time.
Yeah.
Then eat my face. Yeah, no, I understand it's the repetitions that matter, and it's just like, it's actually the same with on stage and on video, because on video, if you post a video and it bombs, maybe you don't know. Maybe the algorithm didn't show the video to many people that day. Maybe people were away, they're sick, or they're not on their phones. It's a holiday. I don't know. There's so many different reasons, or the content was just bad. But that doesn't mean you're bad, and that's the biggest. You have to disassociate from one thing meaning the other here, because they're the best comedians bomb all the time. Kevin Hart bombs to this day, or Jerry Seinfeld, whoever, right? So for me, it's very easy. I just know it's a learning curve for me when I bomb, when I do bad, and you just have to. That's why you have to record yourself all the time. Like I record myself when I do stand up, and you get to see why you bombed or like how you bombed. It's in your delivery, it's in your voice inflections, it's in your mannerisms, your energy, the vibe. There's so many different things, right? But you're only gonna learn by failing at first, right? But yeah, it is tough to accept the bomb and then like go home. But it's also equally exciting knowing you get another chance at it the next day or whatever. And then it's like you almost come with a vengeance. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna come after these people, like metaphorically. And then you just go on stage and you try to kill it, and then you bomb again. And then happens 100 more times again. And then finally you fucking kill it, and you're like, oh, okay, this is why it's worth it. And it's that one time that you kill that it's like it's worth bombing all those times. And same with the videos. There's moments of time, weeks, months that I've plateaued, but then I'm like, I keep going, and then finally one blows up and it goes viral, or like it like snowballs for the rest of the week with every video, and then that's where I'm like, oh, okay, this is why I do it. It's more of like a reminder.
Very cool.
Of why to keep going.
I'm gonna ask you a question because you said something, and we talked about this before. But you said that you eat your face off. And the last time you and I talked, you referenced to me how for a while you battled a food addiction. Mm-hmm. And I see how often you post content of, the workouts that you do and everything. And it's, good on you for pushing through all of that. But maybe you can, if you're comfortable, share that side of you, the addiction, the struggle. I remember you told me a story of, like you go back to your condo at the time, and if you're comfortable sharing that, I think there's important lessons for people in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I was very addicted to food for a while. I still kind of am, but I've learned to handle it in a different way. It's just it was a part of who I was for the longest time. And, just having to switch over that mindset of having a different relationship with food, it sounds so, like, easy, but it's not, It's just with any other addiction. It's easier said than done, right? Especially if it's something that you've been used to doing and the habits you've had for such a long time in your whole life, right? It's like the same way I got sick after 25 years, it's going to take me, like, the same amount of time to undo it all, right? Maybe not 25 years, but maybe it'll take 5 years for me to get over, right? To change, to really make a difference. So, yeah, it's just a constant struggle, obviously, in your mind, but you have to keep telling yourself that, like why, you have to know why you're changing. For me, like I developed a hypothyroidism. It's an autoimmune disease because of all the shit I ate throughout my life, and it fucked up my immune system, right? And knowing that I couldn't ingest sugar and gluten anymore, or else it would fuck me up, I had to really make a difference. I had to really just it's like today, if I don't stop it, I don't know, I could die. I don't know, it's just an extreme example, but it's like you have to be comfortable making that immediate switch.
And you cut it out completely?
Well, yeah, yeah. There's been times where, like, I don't know, like once in a while I would have like a burger, let's say, for example, and it would I'll be out for 4 days because of the gluten.
Really?
It's crazy, yeah. Or I can't have candy or chocolate and shit like that. But it's like after a while, it's gotten much easier now, where I'm like I don't crave it really that much anymore. Before the first year or two even of like cutting this stuff out, I was always stressing. I was like, fuck, man. I wish I could eat this shit again. I get triggered, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about anything else. I want to murk this Panzerotti right now. I want to swallow this whole, all right? But yeah, well, that's the addiction. It's like I don't know. It's crazy because you'd think food should be something for survival. But then we're so accustomed to all these options around us every goddamn day that this shouldn't have even happened in the first place. Why is there 7 McDonald's and Subways and Wendy's and A&W's on every fucking block? But it's like, impossible to find a butcher or like organic meats or organic butter and all this like good stuff for you that, you're supposed to be ingesting like the cavemen did back in the day. It's like instead we're eating fucking processed junk everywhere. And no wonder I look like this now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, obviously it has to do with your own, discipline and all that stuff too. But there's many people like me who don't have the discipline or didn't have it. And then they end up like me. And then some even end up dying or whatever.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, because like back in the day, like the cavemen, like I mentioned, it's like they have to hunt for ox, like these big ass buffaloes and these ox, and they kill them and they have meat for like 12 days. You're not gonna stumble upon a fucking cheeseburger or chips or candy, right? Skittles. It's never gonna happen. Like we weren't supposed to be eating this shit in the first place. I don't know,
but you do have to develop those disciplines. Like people think that they see somebody who's like gets up in the morning successful. He's going like, we're all lazy. We all want to take the easy path, but you have to like make it a no-brainer. Like for you, for example, I was watching a video where you're like, I think it was a performance or some sort of routine you created for yourself. Because hey, if I don't create a routine, I'm gonna slip up and go, and sort of go down a bad path. But if I have these routines where I get up and I follow this routine, knowing this will lead to success, and it's gonna be a lot of work for a long period of time before I'll see it, and then you stick to it, and then you started to see success, right? So. Can you talk about the importance of that and having those routines and disciplines and how you managed to do it for yourself? Because it's been, what, 2 or 3 years since you sort of made that switch?
Yeah. Yeah, it just came down to, it's actually when the pandemic hit that it really changed everything for me in every aspect of my life. And that was pretty much when we talked to, like, maybe a year after. But when the pandemic hit, it was actually a blessing for me in my life, to be honest, because I got a chance to finally like settle down, and I was always like on the road, like doing shitty open mics or shows, doing little mini tours, and always on the go, eating shitty food, sleeping bad, staying up really late, waking up really late, and I got a chance to kind of come back home and reset my whole life. And work on myself for once, because I always neglected my own personal and like mental health and physical health. But I was lucky to have my brother there because he was also working, like coming out of a rough time in his life, 2 years prior, and he was at the point where he could actually help me now. And it was really clutch it was like perfect timing, to be honest. So I actually took a whole month off of everything when the pandemic hit. Social media, like my own, like no
Zero.
one.
Like
I wouldn't even go on my phone for a month. Yeah.
Oh.
I want to ghost. Well, I never do that. I would never do that. But this time I feel like I needed it. And like I asked him for help. I was like, I can't feel like this. I can't live like this anymore. I need help. And I asked for help. And it was very hard to ask for help. It is for a lot of people. So I'm just very lucky that I got there for myself and I asked for the help, and because it changed my life for sure. It definitely changed everything for me. With my content, with my personal life, my relationships, my communication, like so many different skills just got better. And just my mindset got better, It went from having like a fixed mindset on, no, this is who I am, the world's against me, to having a growth mindset where it's like, oh, this happened, how can I find a solution? How can I get better? Accepting where I am now and knowing there's potential to get better after, and being okay with having the patience.
And asking for help. Like a lot of guys won't ask for help. Hey, they're just
it's so hard. What was his response? Like I feel like the hardest part naturally when asking for help is thinking you're not gonna get the help. But
for sure.
Like I was in a similar situation too. But then it's like when you really need help and you ask somebody, you're only gonna ask somebody that you really know is gonna help you, and then you get that. It's usually like obviously like like you got you, and that's always. I was wondering how good it feels to have like family there with you, right? Like instead of, because you always got to listen, obviously you're manifesting things like I got this, Neema, I got this, but like to have somebody else be like your brother, be like, yo, you got this. Like for days when you don't, like how does that help? Like having family around.
Well, yeah, it's that. First of all, it's having the trust factor, right? Is knowing that this person's got your back no matter what. even though we've never even talked about shit like that before. It was just an intuitive thing of like, he's the only person I can ask right now because I feel like he would know.
Yeah, and the fact that you said something interesting, he was in a place where he could help you because his cup was
but he wasn't
fuller.
2 years prior. He was not. He was. If this happened to me 2 years earlier, we'd both be fucked. You know what I'm saying? So he got fucked first, then I got fucked, and then together we came, and now we're not less fucked.
Is it hard working with family, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's ups and downs. I mean, like me and him have like bat heads all the time, but like we've gotten better at like understanding how to live with each other. We live with each other too, right? So we're always together. We're brothers, but we also are owners of a company pretty much together, right? So it's just a constant battle of learning how to cope with each other in different ways. It's a constant, it's like a full-time relationship, right? That's what it is. But we understand the bigger picture of like, okay, like, you know, we have to sacrifice many things, but because we all want the same goal. It's like we're trying to reach somewhere. So yeah, we have to sacrifice, you know, space or, you know, having people over or going out or partying, all that stuff, right? Sure, we're going to have to see each other a lot, but it's like this is what we have to do for now until we can get out of the situation and have a little more comfortable, you know, surrounding. But, I mean, naturally as brothers, like, especially because me and him are so opposite. We're literally the opposite.
Really?
But it works and it also fucking sucks at the same time, you know? Because, like, for the business portion of what this whole brand is, it's the perfect balance because I don't like planning bigger things or having the vision and like I still have my own like goals and stuff, but he understands where to move things and which direction and how to get there. And I'm really good at like just doing it. I don't like to like think. I just like to do shit. I just like to just do it. And I'm really good at that and taking direction. And he's good at giving direction. So in that sense, we work really well together, and it's like unstoppable in my opinion. Because he has all these big ideas that I never would have thought of. And with my help of like actually taking action, it's like we're moving fast like no other. It's like no one else can keep up. But like as brothers, it's like, I don't know, I like to fucking talk and be loud and annoying. And he likes to be quiet and like have his own time and like everyone shut the fuck up. And it's like always just, you know, I don't know, just different opinions. He's older, I'm younger, you know, but in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't want anyone else to be a part of this with me because there's many people in my position who are comedians or actors who are trying to make it big and they have to hire someone as their manager or like an assistant or whatever, right? But I have a core team that's from within, and it's like it's super rare.
People
like
that you know,
before,
people
right?
that you trust.
Yeah, having that trust is already way more valuable than anything.
Mm-hmm. And you work with like your crew from, you know, that you grew up with?
Well, we actually hired a guy who he worked pro bono for us for 2 years, and he reached out to us, and you know we vetted him at first, you know, saw who he was as a person, how he was, and we started slow, and then eventually he became a massive part of this operation. Now it's like he's pretty much equally important as me and my brother at this point. And then also another guy who is my brother's best friend, and you know he's part of the legal, and you know we're slowly like kind of adding
how big is the
make
operation?
sense, what brings, you know, they bring their own value to the team, and it's all from within. Like we all just trust each other, and you know we have that good cohesion.
Mm-hmm.
How big is your operation now?
It's just 4 of us right now. Okay. Yeah, but like we started with just me.
Yeah,
right. I had to start with me before I could get to here.
Yo, you 4x'd.
Yeah, I know, right? Not bad in 7 years. Not bad, not bad.
And it's a lot of work, right? People understand.
No,
creating content is not easy.
Content?
Yeah.
There it is. Is there a favorite?
I have to do that every time.
Please go for it.
There's no way, and someone can study content. I can't do that.
Well, I was talking to a client once right after watching your video. I'm like, yeah, we got a great content. I'm like, oh shit, now I'm doing it.
Is there a specific one that you like the most? Is it the Gary Vee impression?
No. It's one of my original characters. Actually, like all of them. I love all of them. But I don't know. It's the hardest question to answer, to be honest. People always ask me, and I don't know. It's just depending on how I feel.
The day,
to be honest, the day, the mood,
the room.
Like today. Like I was actually filming some videos with my friend Austin, and he's a great creator too, great actor. We were doing like our hockey characters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
the best.
It's like that's one of my favorites for sure.
I love those.
It's just so dumb. I grew up with all these fucking beauties, That's it. But yeah, I mean, it depends. But yeah, Gary Vee's still really fun. Obviously, like David Joggins. I don't know. I just like to try new things. I'm at the stage now where I have to actually move on and try a whole bunch of new accents and characters.
How long would you say? Sorry, that it would take you to get a impersonation or like
develop a character?
Like what is it? Like you see somebody, it's like not everybody. Like okay, like do you like? I know I got this one, or it's like I'm going to try to do this one. Like what's the? You hear somebody and it's like what's the process to get in here? Just hearing anybody random's voice and be like, okay, impression time.
Yeah, I mean to be honest, man, when I was a kid, I would always just try to imitate everybody. And if I could do it, I'd be like, oh, sick, I could do it. If I can't, then I can't do it. I would still try it a couple times, and if it still fails, then I'm like, all right, okay, I just don't have that voice inflection. But yeah, like usually I just kind of try it, and I'm like, oh, I kind of sound like this person. Let me keep trying, and then that's how I master it eventually. But yeah, I mean, it just randomly comes. Like I don't even search for it really. Like everything I've done, it's just come naturally to me.
Do you have to? Are you consuming a lot of content? Is that how you?
Not really, honestly. Like I'll watch sometimes, but I have screen limits on my phone.
Yes.
So I can't my brother has a password and he won't open it if I pass my limits every day. Really? Yeah. So I have to really use it strategically as a tool.
Why the?
Well, because I was also addicted to my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was that whole time of my life where I was like my habits were all out of place. I didn't have habits. I was just living a chaotic life. I would also be on my phone. That was when I started to gain a little bit of following too, and I thought I was cool and like, oh, I have some attention from girls now, and let me just DM these fucking 7 girls constantly all day and just lose purpose and sight of what the fuck I'm doing here in the first place. And that was part of the reason, because I was like obsessed with like just staring at my phone, 14 hours screen time a day. On my apps. Yeah. It's a lot of time, wasted time.
Yeah.
But I'm glad my brother caught that like early on in my first year really of working together. Otherwise, like I'd be, like I said, like I would lose it. I would just go down a spiral. And so from then on,
so now what do you use it for? Like, how are you strategic with it?
Just to post shit, like my own content, reply to comments. This is the priority list. Posting stuff, reply to comments, post stories, and then like if I have time, a couple DMs. That's what it's supposed to. Not like that. Like,
okay.
Shooters got to shoot.
No, not like that. I mean like DMs as in like just anybody. Just like I don't know.
To your fans.
Just the fans. Like literally as fan engagement, not like the girls fucking showing me attention and me like flirting back with them. Like that's so unprofessional and like sleazy. And obviously I'm being honest about it because why would I fucking lie? I don't care. It was in the past. Like I don't do that anymore. I use it as a business now. Like I have to. I don't just use it as a business. I think of it as a business now more than ever because like I mentioned earlier, it's not just me anymore. There's 4 of us. So what I say, it matters. It impacts them too, right? So it's like I have to be careful of that more and more as I grow. And so yeah, it was nice that my brother called me out early on. Be like, hey man, like you're fucking losing it here. Like you're being obsessed with talking to girls or because I never got attention in my home, right? It's like. Can you blame me?
No, it's a nice feeling.
Right? It's a nice feeling, right? And I'm one to be completely transparent. Like that's why I feel like I can connect with a lot of people, and like people like to follow me, and they feel like they know me, is because I like to just be authentically myself, and even whether that's good shit or bad shit. Like, like when I was growing up, I never got attention from girls. I was always the ugly fat kid who was funny. What the fuck does that get you when you're younger? Right? In high school, everyone's very shallow. Everyone wants to just like hook up quick, like, oh, you're hot, this and that. That never happened for me. And so I kind of dwelled on that. It was a big part of my life that really fucked me up for years. Until I got this attention. I was starting to get a little bit of following, a little bit of clout. And I hate that word. But it's such a small mindset, right? But it's like hard when you finally get that validation from another gender of people. Who normally wouldn't talk to you if you didn't have followers, which is fucked, But I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm getting it. Who cares? Like, I don't even care why they like to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? But that's what happens when you're so deprived for so long. You're like, oh, once you have it, it's like, oh, I want it all. And so that's why it doesn't matter who you have around you to kind of like check your blind spots, because I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that I was going crazy until, you know, my brother came. He's like, all right, like, this is what's happening. This is what's wrong. This is how you do it. This is how you fix it. And that's why the screen limits came in conversation.
Do you find you're receptive to this feedback when your brother comes to you and says, hey, Neema, listen, this, you know, we got to cut back on A, B, or C. Like, are you receptive, or do you fight it at first?
Well, here's the thing. Because it's coming from my brother, and usually when he tells me shit, it's very intense. And it hurts my feelings. I'm a sensitive guy. I always get defensive. And he's older, yeah. And he's older. And I'm like...
So there's the cultural thing to that, too. Yeah, the cultural thing,
too, yeah. And it pisses me off, right? Like, off the bat, all the time. And I get defensive. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, no, I don't... He try to, like, make excuses. Like, no, like, I don't do that. No, okay, it's this. Blah, blah, blah. But he's like, no, like, shut the fuck up. Right? This is how... I'm the one seeing you do this. I'm not an idiot, right? And he's not. He's a very smart guy. And that's why I hate it, because he's always right. But I don't want to give him that right away. I'm just a little petty bitch, right? I'm like, no, I'm going to fight you for an hour. And then at the end, I'm going to be like, yeah, you know what? Like, yeah, okay, you're right. And then he'll feel good or whatever. But, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough, but it's no one else is going to do that for me. That's why I respect it. Even though as much as I hate hearing it, and a lot of people are, like, a lot of people hate hearing negative things about themselves. Like, they want everything to be good, right? It's insecurities. And so, but I've gotten much better over time of, like, knowing where he's coming from every time he does bring something up. Because like I just know as soon as he says, like, he doesn't have to even talk. Yeah, I could see by his face. I'm like, oh, here we go. He's gonna mention something. And I'm like, fuck, I got to prepare myself mentally. Be like, okay, just don't get defensive. Hear him out. Don't interrupt him. Don't fucking try to jab back or anything like that. Just listen. Just listen and wait till he's done talking and then react or then respond. And I think I've gotten much better at doing that, you know, expanding the reaction to responding time. And that's why I think that actually helps with, like, every aspect of life. I think, you know, whether it's with a brother, friend, relationship with another person, you know, I feel like when you respond rather than react, it just, you get better results. Mm-hmm. So that's why I've tried to build that a lot, but it's still hard. You know, sometimes some things piss me off. Still, I'm like, no, that's not fucking right. And then
it's that Middle Eastern.
It's that Middle Eastern anger, bro. It's that blood boiling.
First response, defensive.
It's the blood boiling, man. Because, like, you know, it's like it's an ego. It's an ego.
Yeah.
You know, it's on your ego, right? And you don't want to be looked as, like, soft or whatever. But I mean, once you accept it, though, that's how you get better.
How do you get past the feeling of looking, quote unquote, soft? Because that's a trigger for a lot of guys.
I don't care now. I mean, like, it's only with me and my brother that I don't like to act soft. But with anybody else, I don't give a fuck. I've openly talked about me being a little like soft, like being a pussy. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna fight someone.
For what? It's not worth it anyway.
So what am I gonna do? What am I gonna?
For what?
I'll sit on you. How about that?
Too old to fight anyway, man. Too old to fight.
I don't know. I feel like, yeah, that's just me being myself. It's like, who cares? Well, so what if I'm soft?
Was that hard to do? Like, people, like, being authentic on social is a scary ongoing conversation.
It's actually very easy for me, to be honest. I don't know why, but that's something I'm very confident in, is just being myself and accepting who I am. But there's a difference between, like, shitting on yourself and accepting who you are. Before, I would shit on myself and be like, oh, I'm this fat guy. I'm sad. Be sad for me, right? I don't get bitches. I don't get girls. I don't know, all this dumb shit. But now I'm like, you know, yeah, I still have flaws, and I talk about it, but I also, like, I'm positive about it too. It's like, but here's what I am good at, and here's what I do, and all this stuff, right? And I don't like to see myself as soft anymore, like, because I feel like, yeah, I want to be hard. Like, I want to have a hard mindset, you know. I want to be tough, and, like, you know, that's why I started lifting and started, like, actually caring about how I look. I feel like it's sexy having the effort, you know. Mm-hmm. Having effort and caring about your body for once, you know?
You get addicted to the results. Like, you see, you're just like, yeah, like, you know, I got this. Like, you start moving on, you start feeling good.
It's not even that. It's just more so just like, why do I have to stay this way? Like, at some point, I'm like, I'm unhappy. I have to be willing to accept that I'm unhappy with how I look right now. And what and know that there's a certain look I do want to look like. And just, like, what am I going to do about it? So for once, I'm like, you know, I'm just going to do something about it. rather than sulk about it.
And how's that process going?
It's great. It's really only this mindset has been coming into fruition for the past month.
Okay.
All this time.
So new.
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah.
Because even the last time we talked, you know, like, yeah, I would work out. But I didn't really know why I was working out. I just thought, like, I just have to do it. This is how I'm going to, like, get fit or get healthy.
Right.
Or whatever it is, right? I never had that, like, that strong, you know, energy about, like, I'm tired of being this way. I want to not be this way anymore. That's how I feel now.
Mm.
I'm like sick of it, you know? It's like I'm disgusted by myself, of myself. It's like, why do I don't want to be the fat guy anymore. I want to be a skinny guy in training, you know? That's the way I look at it. So
how do you separate?
and there's nothing wrong with being fat. Like, there is, but if you're working on it, then that's fine. Which is, I'm working on it. I think it's okay. But if you're
working on your health.
You're working on your health. That's what I'm saying. I actually don't care about, like, what you look like. That's all preference, right? But for me, I'm like, I've never seen my abs. There's never been a world where I could just buy anything at a store, and it'll fit me right away. Like, I don't even go shopping. I just go to buy something that possibly could fit me. I can't shop for nice things. My whole life, I just have to shop for something that fits me, and I hate that. Why can't I just shop for once, for just having nice clothes?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There's a difference.
Totally.
There definitely is a difference there.
Right? And so I just got to that point where I'm fed up about it, right? So, but there's people who accept that they're fat and they sulk and they just, like, let go of themselves. That's how I was. And I think it's a weak mindset. It's weak. It's weakness.
So what do you tell those people? Because you said you were there at one point.
Yeah. I was weak for so long.
So how do you, like, tips, advice?
You just have to find the reason.
Your why.
Your why, really, yeah. More than anything, your purpose of, like, why the fuck do you want to change and how, and I don't know. Yeah, it's just a matter of, yeah.
It's interesting that you did it at the beginning of COVID too, because a lot of people went the other way.
Oh, I know.
That's when they started eating and their sleep schedule got fucked up, and they didn't know who they were, what they're doing, what to focus on. The routine was gone. So it's interesting that you did that at the start of COVID and you went the positive way, right?
Yeah. I mean, because I didn't have a 9 to 5, my whole life was content at the time. I was like, oh, let me just double down on content if I can't do live shows. And that's when it started to pick up.
How much filming are you doing in a day? Like, do you film every single day?
No. Before I would, when I was all chaotic and sporadic. But now I'm on a schedule where it's like, I'll plan ahead. I'll plan a week ahead and be like, all right, Tuesday, I'll just film for 6 hours. Or I'll film with this person on Wednesday for 6-7 hours. And we'll bang out like 10 videos. And then, like, I won't film for like 3 days. And then I'll film again. I have to keep...
You come up with everything?
Yeah.
All the content?
Yeah. Everything is my own original ideas, or else, unless it's like I'm collabing and we both have ideas, obviously. But, yeah, I just write everything in my phone. Like, anytime I think of something remotely funny, I'll write it in my notes folder. It has Neema Naz video ideas and Neema Naz stand-up material. 90% of it's garbage. But that 10% is golden shit, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know until you write it down.
Yeah, like those moments, like, let's say, grocery shopping, just like, oh, got it. Like,
yeah,
you know, yeah,
100%,
like
exactly.
you wake up in the middle of the night, you're just like, oh yeah, like, you know, write it down, go
exactly.
back to sleep.
I find inspiration through life. That's what comedians do, and that's why I feel like I'm a true comedian at heart, because I'm a very observational guy. I'll notice minor details in people, in their face, how they react, how they speak, their accents, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just write it down. I'll just be like, oh, this would be hilarious, like, just random shit.
What do you do when you get that mental block?
I have so many backlog of ideas. I'll just, like, focus on those for a bit.
Okay.
And then I just know eventually it'll come back, the new ideas.
Yeah.
And it was originally built on Instagram, right? Your audience?
No, YouTube.
YouTube.
I started YouTube when I dropped out of university 7 years ago.
Damn.
7 years ago, yeah. And then I ate shit for 4 years. Literally just no views, dog shit engagement. But I just kept going. And then finally my brother, before he even became a part of the team, he was just, like, on the side being like, yo, man, like, why he was just like, he always had good ideas. I was working shitty part-time jobs in early 2018 and early 2019. And he noticed, like, why am I working these part-time jobs just to go do stand-up and live downtown when I could just not do any of those, live back at home, so what, I have to travel, 30, 40 minutes, not have to worry about these shitty part-time jobs that isn't going to get me anywhere, and instead focus on making content and micro content, not big videos. That's when micro content was starting to like get, you know, popular. And then he was right. I started posting 10, 15, 30-second clips on Instagram and TikTok, and they started blowing up one after the other. Like a snowball effect, just, you know, and that's it. And then that's where it all started to like lift off from there.
And then YouTube just followed.
Well, YouTube was still dead until 4 or 5 months ago, when I started posting on YouTube Shorts, and all of a sudden within 2 weeks I went up 100K.
Wow.
So I got to 7K subscribers after 6.5 years of YouTube, and then within 2 weeks I went up 107K. That's
YouTube Shorts.
That should be proof.
So if someone was starting now, would you say go TikTok first, repurpose it on Instagram, repurpose
I just
it on
fucking
Shorts?
do whatever. Just do it all.
Do it all.
I mean, because there's no formula. You never know. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Anything could work for different people. You never know what would work best until you try it.
Yeah,
just do it all.
Just do it all.
Like, for me, if I was starting new, I'd just post everything the exact same video on every platform.
See what sticks.
Like just go nuts. Yeah. It doesn't even matter. Mm-hmm. None of this fucking matters. All right, no one cares. At the end of the day,
no one cares.
I have 170,000 followers on Instagram. I have over 500K on TikTok, 150 almost K on YouTube Shorts, and at the end of the day, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, sure, people obviously like, you know, makes their day. They're big fans and they support you, right? But at the end of the day, these people, it's not their whole day. It's not their whole week. It's not their whole life. It's like, it's a small moment in their day, right? They still have to worry about so much shit in their own lives. They can't care about you. And that's why it's a blessing to think about, because it makes it easier to post more shit. And just keep
grounded.
Going. Keeps you grounded, because you're like, oh, like,
they're going to forget about it.
It's less pressure, because they're going to forget about this shit anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Even if they don't, it doesn't matter. It's like just a few people. It's this, even if it's a lot of people, it's like, I don't know, not everyone's going to like everything either. They're also not going to hate everything or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when someone watches my video, within 3 minutes, they've already scrolled through 30 videos.
Mm-hmm.
So that should make it easier for people who are beginners to be like, oh, okay. It's like I shouldn't focus too much on the quality of this content and more so on the quantity.
Get it out.
Just get it out.
Just get it out.
Which is interesting, because a lot of times it's the opposite. You think quality over quantity.
That's the old method, yeah. But the Gary Vee method is just quantity over quality, bro.
Plus, you get better at quality with quantity.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's the thing. Yeah. And even if you don't, you still learn from that. The more you fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple, in my opinion.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you learned from Gary when you spoke to him? Any like
patience?
Well, it's funny you say
gratitude.
I remember you told me once that it was, if I remember correctly, micro patience. No, sorry.
Yeah, macro speed,
macro patience.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole Gary Vee method of like, he literally says like quantity over quality, because you can't control what the audience thinks. You can control how many videos you make, though, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what it clicked for me immediately.
So and then just getting your face out there as much as possible.
I just film everything. I have no pressure. I'll do one take.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just do one take. Nice. I'm like, oh, this is good.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot from Gary. That guy's a machine, man.
Oh, he's a machine. And when I met him too,
he's a machine.
It's crazy how, like, very calculated his time is.
Mm-hmm.
He has like 3 assistants following him everywhere, 4 cameramen. We finished talking after like 7 minutes, and like literally abruptly he's like, "All right, guys, I gotta go. See ya," and then like goes to the next thing.
But he's very organized. But he's very present too. Like
very
when
present.
I met him, he looked at me in the eye like he knew me. How you doing, brother? And he answered my question like genuinely, even though there's 100 things going on in the background.
Exactly.
I got mad respect for him.
That's where that's why I respect the fuck out of him too, because of that. Yeah, he's very present.
Anybody else you've met at that conference that just really left an impression on you?
Yeah, I mean, like Steve Aoki was pretty cool. Steve Aoki's a good dude.
Yeah,
he's cool. I just love EDM too, so it was just really nice to meet him. After I've seen him live like 4 times, and it was cool to talk to him. And yeah, they're all cool. Like they're all just like humans.
Regular guys.
Tom Billio actually was really impactful. You know Tom Billio?
I've heard the name.
This guy's
another
fucked.
beast.
He's a beast, man. Like that. Yeah, that guy changes lives.
Yeah,
in a different way for sure. Like he has a thing called impact theory.
Okay.
And it's just pretty much about like how to communicate properly. He has relationship theory too, where it's with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about how to have a proper relationship, how to keep a relationship going, keeping it strong. Like, how to communicate. Like there's so many.
And he goes deep into health.
Deep.
I've learned some cool stuff
some deep
about
shit.
health. Yeah.
He was actually the one who kind of helped with my mindset about my health because he was at a point where he was not eating well and he was like kind of like not at his peak physique, and he was getting pissed. He's like, "Why the fuck? Why am I like this? I want to be like." And so his wife was like, "Draw a picture of what you want to look like." And when he drew it, he had like APAC, right? And he's like, "Yeah, like why the fuck do I look like this? I want to look like that." And then he did it. Within a fucking year, he got an APAC, and now he's like, it's like anything's possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you do an interview with him? I saw something that.
Yeah. I interviewed him actually. Yeah, at VCon. It was. He talked to me for like 12 minutes straight. Like, he's a really nice guy.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, but.
So what's next? What's on the docket for Neema? You did some stand up. You got to meet Gary Vee. You went to VCon. You're creating content.
Yeah.
What's next? What's coming up?
So many things, man. I'm doing my first stand-up comedy tour.
Nice.
In the
nice.
fall.
Congrats.
I'm announcing it next week.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's gonna be all across Canada my first time. It'll be 17 different cities.
Nervous?
Yeah, but in a good way. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want
If
to.
you're nervous, it means you care.
Of course, yeah. I'm always nervous.
Is it true that to get 1 minute of quality stand-up content, it takes like something like 3 weeks of planning and work?
Yeah, pretty much. Like a good tight 5 minutes of good material can take up to like a few months.
Yeah, that's what I
6
heard.
months.
Like, for Jerry Seinfeld to get him 3 minutes, he would say 2 months of work to get 3
Oh, wow.
minutes.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
insane.
Yeah, like some people who do specials, like takes over a year to get a full proper 45 minutes hour.
Damn.
Takes over a year. Yeah.
How
Because
long is yours?
mine's like 45 minutes,
Okay.
but like it's like compiled from like when I first started till now.
Right.
So it's like my first bout of like good material. I'm gonna toss out of the way. Now is gonna be the real challenge when I start new again.
Right.
It's like it's a new challenge I've never had to deal with.
Do you test it out on like your friends, your family, and all that?
Well, I do my weekly shows every Thursday night in the city for the past 4 months, selling them out every Thursday night, 8 p.m., 10 p.m. shows. It's like a 30-seat.
Where do people
room?
find that?
Yeah, where's that?
Well, I have a text community, so people can text me. It's an exclusive club where people have direct access to me, and I'll text people back. It's like manual. Like I give people personalized videos. It like builds community, right? It builds, like, I actually care, and I really do, and people see that, and people appreciate that when I do text them back, when I send them links, or when I send them like videos of me talking to them, or anything. When I'll just like randomly call people, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
And you do all your own engagement.
yeah, everything's. I don't let anyone else touch it. That's one thing I have to do on my own. Yeah, so important. Like, I wouldn't be here if I didn't do that. Like, and that's also another Gary method.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yo, I literally responded to every single comment on Twitter for 2 years straight. I'm like, that's fucked. And that's what I did now on Instagram and TikTok for 2 years. And look, and I've built such a huge community. And like when I go out in the streets now, because no one's had access to me for years, especially because of the pandemic, and that's when I kind of blew up. When I finally started going out on the streets, the amount of love I get is crazy. It's
Cool.
like, it's really nice.
People run up to you,
all
take
the time.
photos, all that.
Yeah, it's like
Cool.
more and more I grow, like I get bombarded now. It's crazy. And like it's it's not everywhere, obviously, but when you do get that love, bro, it's like no better feeling, because it's like, oh, okay, I obviously impacted this person in a big way. That's what keeps me going too.
Doesn't your mom get noticed
my
too?
mom, bro, all the time comes home. Every single time she leaves and comes back home, there's another instance of like, oh, you're never gonna believe it. I was in a supermarket, I was getting bread for your dad, and then the attendant was like, oh my god, are you like Neema's mom? Oh yeah, I love your videos. And she's like, oh, thank you so much, really, thank you so much. She gets all shy, and like they're like, oh my god, I love your videos. She's like, she gets so happy explaining this to me, and I'm like, that's fucking cool too, you know?
Well, she gotta be so proud.
Yeah, well, at this point, they're like, oh, I mean, my dad, there's been time, because he's a very, like, Middle Eastern immigrant dad, where he's like, I'm not going to be impressed at anything you say. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's been times where he doesn't even wish me happy birthday. He's like, how old you are now? Right? He's like, just say happy birthday. Like, what the fuck, man?
Oh,
right? It's such an immigrant dad thing to do. But yeah, even him, sometimes when I tell him, like, what happens, or people come up to me, or like, you know, I met this person. He's like, oh wow, shit, I didn't know this could happen. Like, because in Iran, like, there's no opportunity for this shit.
Yeah.
You try to be funny in Iran, you're getting your head chopped off. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is allowed to be dark shit. Right? You gotta you sell goats and shut up, you know?
Yeah.
But
now your dad is a believer. He's like, okay.
Well, he's been a believer for a while. He's always low key supported me. He never shows it. Sorry, he never says anything, but he shows it by like, you know, he's just like yeah, keep going, like it's good. Like he's very actually supportive in that way of like encouraging me. He never like really says congratulations for certain things, but in his mind, you could tell he is congratulating, but that's just like such a dad thing. Like not like, no, I'm not gonna hug you. What do you think? I'm soft?
Yeah, yeah.
Why would I touch you? But I'm sure you guys have felt that. You know, like what's your background?
Jamaican and Bayesian.
There you go. I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, maybe you do have a great relationship with your family.
No. My relationship with my parents is not very good at all. So like it's
the stereotype is true, man.
It's the dad thing. Yeah, I never got it. I love you.
And you're Arab.
Arab, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm the opposite.
This is the worst.
No, I'm the opposite. I mean, like my dad and I have butt heads more than I can count. But the one thing he never shied away from was telling me, he's like, you know, I love you or whatnot, which was always nice. Because
That's unheard of.
I've never
heard of it.
Show off.
Show off. Get out of this room.
I love you, Dad.
This is for the sad kids.
This is the side kids.
No, but it does make a difference. I will say, because
I've
hung out with, I've had friends growing up who have had poor relationships with their dads, and even now, you know, I have really close male friends that I call brothers who've openly talked about their relationships with their fathers being essentially non-existent, and you could see the longing for that relationship because it's so impactful. And I think, which is it speaks to what we're trying to do here with the Gents Talk series, where we really want to open up those conversations, because there's a lot of dads out there who want a better relationship with their kids, but they don't necessarily know how to do that, right? And there's a lot of kids out there who want a better relationship with their dads, and they don't know how to reach them. Now, you know, depending on how old you are and how old your dad is, a lot of immigrant dads in particular have come from a lot of really crappy places. And so, you know, you got to look at the history how their fathers treated them. So they're only behaving, like they're only going to behave and show affection to you in a way that they only know how. And if they were never shown that, then, you know, you can't expect very much from them. But that's where it sort of starts with us, right? When we have kids, like in your cases, you're saying no. You know, my dad wasn't super affectionate, but when you have a son or a daughter, now it's on you to change that, to break that generational taboo.
100%.
Yeah, well said.
Some deep shit, bro.
Thank you.
God damn. About to shed a tear over here.
If you do, it'll probably be good for ratings.
Yeah.
What about your friends, though? Let me ask you, your friends. Have your friends changed? Your circles changed as you blew up? Like, did that get affected? Did you have to cut some people off that weren't sort of evolving and growing in your life?
I still have my core group of friends, to be honest, from like back home, and they also keep me grounded in a way of they hype me up and they're very supportive, but they don't look at me as Neema Naz. They see me as Neema Nazeri, the human being.
Yeah,
they're a friend, and that's why I like. And it's nice to have that, because everyone else I meet is always about, oh, Neema Naz, and I'm like, it's actually I'm not that kind of guy. I realize, like, you know, if I become famous, I wouldn't like being that flashy guy, you know, because I never lived that way, and it's not who I am. It's not how I was raised. So it's nice to kind of have that like suburb, hometown vibe once in a while, and I go back to my roots. That's how my brother is. Right, he shits on me all the time, in a good way of like relax. Like every time I even have a small moment of like oh, look at me or whatever. He's like, yeah, but this, but that, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, you're right. I still have to worry about like waking up on time and going to the gym and eating well, and it's like once you start thinking about those things in your habits, you're like, oh fuck, none of this matters if you don't have this part down first. If I'm not 100% as Neema Nazeri, the human being, like how can I be 100% as a performer? Neema Naz.
How do you shelter that from the outside?
You have to separate. Like when I wake up now, I have the first 2 hours of my day to myself of like no phone. I don't even think about my work. I don't think about comedy at all. Nothing. I just think about my mind and how I can be a good person that day and just do well as a person before anything else. Whether that, going up right away and working out and then writing stuff after, like planning my day, writing jokes or ideas, taking a shower, like shit like that, like very basic stuff, right? Like
just being present.
Just being present in my day and not thinking I'm Neema Naz, because I'm not Neema Naz.
It also lets your mind wander and just like flush things out. You know what I mean? You're not thinking about something like what you're doing and all that.
Exactly.
That slow start to the day.
For
you
sure.
just get to like chill and ease into it, right?
Ease into it. You have to, man, because there was a time, like I said before, where I'd wake up straight to my phone, social media. What are these notifications saying? You know what I'm saying? So that was the darkest
I struggle with that still sometimes.
Especially because, like, I noticed you, as you were saying too, like you do comment a lot and you do a lot.
All
which
time.
Is obvious.
Yeah.
So how do you deal? Same thing.
How do you
like
separate
just,
that?
like, deal with, like, because obviously it's like, oh yeah, you did great. It's great. It's great. Then, like you said, people say like fat fuck shit, or like people like just talk shit that you see and you're just like fuck. Like, how do you just do you not respond to it? Do you like just respond it and as it brush it off? How do you deal with that stuff?
Well, any negative comments, I just leave now. I don't even think about it. There's one video I posted.
Do you respond to them?
No, never.
You don't?
I leave it. I always leave it. I don't want to give them time of day.
Yeah. And like you said, you almost feel sorry for them.
Yeah. There's no point. It's a waste of my time and energy. I have screen limits. Okay, I gotta get through my shit. Right? I'm not trying to be here arguing with some bum in his fucking basement for nothing, right? And before though, like it would affect me a little bit, or I'd like reply back, and then my brother's like, "Oh, next time, just do this," or next time, because like it's always a learning curve, right? There are times I still screw up, and then my brother will be like, "Okay, like just don't do that next time, but instead do this or try this," and that's how you keep going, right? I'm a human being, right? I'm not perfect, but like there are times where the one video I posted, the David Goggins one, with my shirt off, man, there's like hundreds, maybe thousands of comments about like how fat I am, or like, oh, this fat fuck, like crazy shit,
just mean stuff,
bro. And I'm like, okay, man, I get it.
It has nothing to do with it.
Nothing, bro.
Like,
this whole video of me like saying some gold shit, like good writing, good performance, like good
They can't
setting.
see past it.
They're just straight to like, oh, this fat fuck doesn't even follow David Goggins' method. I'm like, yeah, obviously, like, bro, what do you expect me to do overnight?
The guy does
1,000
chin-ups.
What do you mean, man? I'm not in the U.S. Navy SEALs. I'm Canadian. First of all, can't even do it. Second of all, I'm a fucking comedian. Okay, I don't have time for this shit. All right, like I'll go to the gym, yeah, but I'm not David Goggins, obviously, right? So I don't know, but anyway, like any regular person would for sure just fold under that pressure of seeing all these comments. For me, I'm like, yeah, it's shitty. And I think I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, I am a fat fuck. I am. But, like, it doesn't, like, make me stop or discourage me to, like, go. Like, it actually keeps me going because I'm like, oh, you know what? The thing about negative comments, I actually get a lot of motivation from, because, okay, I feel like it's important to have 90% motivation from within, but that 10% of dark energy should come from, like, showing people what the fuck is up. And that's where it actually fuels me. Because I'm like, all right, like, I do this mostly for myself, obviously. Makes me happy. But then there's times where I'm like, I got that Kobe, like, mama mentality. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to fucking show these fuckers.
I'll show you.
I'll show you. All right, bro.
Cool,
I've screenshotted many comments of saying, like, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Just to like, throw it in their face when it happens, And
you think that's important to have?
You have to have that 10%. It can't be all of it. Because that also is like, you're not even doing it for yourself anymore. But there's that chip on your shoulder, right?
The underdog. Yeah, you don't think I'll make it? I'll show you.
Underdog,
I'll show you.
exactly.
But, like, it also shows, like, the progress. Everybody loves rooting for the underdog, too, right? So it's like, okay, like, it's like, show you, I got this.
Yeah.
Like, keep seeing you just killing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't matter. You can say what you want, but, like, I'm progressive.
Still not there,
You're still there in your mom's basement.
That's what I'm saying.
Shit,
yeah.
and I'm doing more things. You're just getting more mad that I'm doing better. Good.
Literally.
Good. Let me get you something to be mad about.
Exactly, bro. Big mad for no reason. And there's actually the comments that are actually even more hurtful are ones that aren't even hate. It's more so just like the reality or the truth. Because it's like, this is what happened a month ago that actually helped me really change my whole mindset now. Someone wrote on the David Goggins video, actually, he's like, I was actually doing another podcast where I was talking about, like, having the mindset, being consistent with, like, your health and everything like that, all this shit too, and whatever. And then the guy wrote, he's like, yo, if you act like you're so high performance, then why are you so big still? And I was like, that shit fucking hit me. I was like, you know what? He's fucking right. He's like, I keep preaching about all this shit, but why am I really doing anything about it? And that's why I told you earlier about, like, I don't want to be the fat guy anymore. I have to actually be, I can't be the fat guy. I'm a skinny guy in training. And that's what set me off, that one comment. Like, sometimes it helps.
Yeah.
But, like, he wasn't even being mean. He was actually just saying a true observation. And that's what really impacted me in a good way, I guess, because, like, at the time I was like, fuck, man, he's right.
And you just felt like you weren't being fully authentic.
Yeah, I felt like I was a phony for a second. I was like, man, like, yeah, he's right. Like, why haven't I really, like, taken my own advice in a way? It's like, why haven't I really made progress? Because I'm not trying hard enough. Like, I can preach good shit and it helps people, I'm sure. But I have to do that for myself, like, above and beyond, if I want to make an actual change. And
it's a big responsibility. Like, first it takes courage to put your life out there, right? And then it's a responsibility. Now it seems like you're taking it personal. Like, you don't want to feel like you're full of shit or feel like you're
that's what I'm saying.
Right?
There's that pressure too. It's like, you know, if I'm going to speak on this in these things, I actually do believe in everything I say, and I do try and I do it. It's just that maybe I could go harder. There is room to go harder. To actually make a difference, and also to prove these motherfuckers wrong.
Prove them wrong.
Right?
Didn't you
At the end of the day, it's that one, you know?
I'm
I'll show you, bro. I swear to God, I'll show you.
Didn't you publicly, like, when you lost the weight journey, when you lost that, you put it out there? That's how you started. You committed. You said, I'm going to lose 150 pounds.
Right, yeah. That was the first time. But, like, I did that in a wrong way before, where it was almost like a crash diet, right? It's like, yeah, like, I'm going to lose 60 pounds in a month, and then I'm good. But, like, you eat one thing that's off your, you know, what you just deprived yourself of, and just completely backtracks the entire thing. I did that my whole life. I lost 97 pounds in a year. I did it. But what was the point if I didn't build any muscle? I didn't build any real habits. I didn't build consistency. I saw it more as like, it's a 1 year goal rather than a lifetime. So now I'm at a point where, yeah, I'm losing weight slower, but I'm gaining muscle. I'm getting, you know, just I feel like I'm getting more definition. I'm, you know, more lean rather than skinny fat, right? And that's what I really want. I want to have actual, like, long-term effects of getting fit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, there's also the added benefit just from the mental stimulation of working out.
Yeah.
Like the mental benefits, the emotional benefits. You feel better. You're less stressed. It takes more to stress you out. You sleep better. You eat better. It starts to compound in a positive way when you start building that lifestyle, as opposed to, like, instead of saying I'm on a diet, it's I'm making a lifestyle decision.
That's it. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and it's long term. You're thinking long term, not like when you were young. Oh, you know, you want to be rich, you want to be this, you want to do it in, like, you know, what can I do in 1 year, 2 years? But we're not thinking, what can I do in 10, 15 years, right? And we get older, then we start to think that way, and it's like, well, you know, it would have been nice to think that way in our 20s or have that sort of guidance, right?
100%. Like, I don't want to be 40 and my fucking back hurts.
I mean, no matter what, when you're 40, your back's gonna hurt. Just doesn't matter what you do. Your back's gonna hurt at 40. But
There's a lot of 40-year-olds out there are gonna tell you.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's like if I can do something about it now while I'm young, like, I'm only 27, man. It's fucking young, right? It's like why not? I want to actually be thriving, not just existing when I'm 10 years, 20 years older. So that's also a part of it.
I like that, thriving.
Yeah.
I think that's important. You're not just living for today.
No, I'm tired of feeling like I can't do more things, you know, with my body. So there's been so many times where, like, I'm bending over to tie my shoes, I'm out of breath. I'm like, why the fuck am I out of breath? It's like I'm 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, at some point you just gotta get tired of it and move on. Yeah. Whether that's your weight, your struggles with depression, or your fucking shitty relationship, whatever it is.
You gotta want the change more than
you have to want to change.
Just being okay with what it is. It's so hard. It's like, you know what? I want the change more than anything else. Like, I just want to go and get it. Yeah. For me.
Yeah.
You know, because it's hard. You do things for other people. Other times, like, then you realize, like you said the first time, you talked about sustainability earlier. Like, it's got to be stuff that you can do consistently. Like, it's like, instead of like, oh, I'm just gonna try to lose all this weight and be done. It's like, no, I'm gonna do this so slowly. So now so you don't crash. So have crash. So now, so now I'm so used to getting up and not see my phone 2 hours. That's part of my life now. So, like, when you things change, it's like, oh, like, it feels weird. It's like, I want to go back to that routine.
I know. Well, it's so easy as human beings to just, like, let go of things.
Yeah,
slip. We want to be dumb and, like, just very basic. No one wants to really work hard. Like naturally, I feel like we're just meant to just exist. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but
I feel like we should though.
I mean, we should. It would be nice to let go and just eat fucking Cheetos all day.
Just chill out, but you can't. Right? Yeah.
But like, yeah, you're just not gonna live a good life though.
No.
It's just no. I don't know.
It'll be
you just feel like
short-lived.
shit all the time.
Yeah.
I don't like feeling like shit. I like feeling good, especially because I know what it feels like to feel good now. So you can't go back.
Nope.
And you make so many people feel good too, right?
Yeah.
Like with your comedy and stuff, you look, you just laugh, man. Like your stuff I watch and I just laugh. Man. I laugh.
Thank you, man.
Like, you're hilarious.
Thanks.
Man.
I
told you
appreciate
for
it.
like especially the hockey guys, man. Because like I know hockey bros. Like you know, and you see the shows and it's just like, and I share them and it's like so fun and it's so like as long as you're Canadian, it's relatable. It's like I feel like it's not as relatable to the States.
Maybe, yeah.
The hockey
Some
stuff.
parts.
Yeah, but we have so much other stuff too. But like especially the hockey guys, I'm going, yeah, that's this guy.
That's it.
You know,
That's what I'm saying. You know exactly
I know exactly who that guy
Yeah.
is. Like, you know,
But I think in anybody, it's like
him.
we all had our crews of the Greek guy, the Italian guy, to this guy. That
Yeah,
guy,
for
where
sure,
It's
yeah.
just so relatable, right?
Yeah, that's the point, man. I don't know. It just comes down to me just being who I am. I'm an extension of the people I grew up with, right? I grew up with all these people, and so I'm just speaking for them.
Is there
Very
any
cool.
new characters, like famous
new
people that you're
impressions
working
you're
on right
working
now?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's actually a new like New York Italian character that I'm working on that I did a couple of videos now, and like people really like it. So
Nice.
I'm gonna do that one more often.
What does that one sound like?
It's more like, you know, I'm a fucking asshole. You understand me? All right, if you don't fucking come over here and do what I want you to do, I'm gonna break your knees and take you to Queens. You understand me? All right.
That's good, but
You see me walking around here like I'm a fucking scumbag? Huh? You think I'm a fucking asshole? You think I'm a jerk off? You're a fucking jerk off. It's just very like basic New York town, right? But like
I saw the Italian versus Italian one.
yeah, with
The
my boy
mortadella.
Jojo. Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, Canadian versus American talent. But yeah, I mean, like, I know I'm actually very, like, I'm open knowing, like, I'm not good at all the accents, obviously. There's, like, actually the hardest ones for me to do that I really want to try and do better at are the West Indies. Jamaican is actually, I'm not even going to try it because that's the one on the hard, patois is on the, you have to know and understand patois in order to actually do the accent as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's actually one of the hardest ones I've ever attempted. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to fucking stay off until I can get it. Because I did one video, actually, did really well, and then people really liked it. Like, I have big love, obviously, from the Jamaican community and everything like that, which is nice. But it's like, can I do more?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's the hardest part. You can do, I can always do like one or two of certain ones. Like, I did a Trini one. I think I'm pretty good at it. But like, that one's also like, I have to actually really prepare for it. That one's hard for me to just improv right off the bat. Like, there's certain ones like that it's like,
Yeah, you got to prep.
you have to actually prep.
Yeah.
But other ones, I'm like, I could just like switch it on, like like my own accent. I'll be Persian. It's like I live that life more than anything else, right? But the more I live my life now, and the newer accents I see or I hear, sometimes it's like much harder to do those certain ones because I've only been around this person, like, I don't know, these types of people, like, I don't know, 1% of my life, rather as opposed to like 50.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it just matters on who your upbringing is, and you know who you're around more so, and
It's almost like you got to be able to hear it in your head before you can.
that's what I'm saying. You have to be around it. Like, you have
Yeah.
to actually live it, right? It's like weirdly enough, like, I know Tamil. I can speak Tamil, like certain, because one of my boys is Tamil, right? It's like I've been over to his house my whole life, and I heard his mom speak and like how their accent is and like what food they eat. I've been around their food. I've been around their music. You know, you learn about the culture, right? It's about representing the culture.
Yeah.
It's not just about like, you know, the accent. It's like there's more to it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I still love the Persian stuff too.
Yeah.
It's always
Well,
on.
I mean,
It's
that's
always so on
That's
point.
just the easiest for me.
And because I know so many Persian people, it's like, yeah, that's exactly.
But that's
what
just
it's
my
like.
mom. You know,
Yeah.
that's the closest thing to me. Is
Yeah.
I'm just making fun of my mom. Right? It's like doing a, I don't know, like a Chinese accent is like my boy, like Aaron. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with, right? It's not my mom, but still close.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the hierarchy of the accents.
Yeah.
Like, it matters.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're around it more too, right? You're around it and you hear it more.
Yeah, of course. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like, that's why, like, you know, the hockey guys or like the Italians. You know what I'm saying? Or like, I don't know, like Indian even. Like, I've been around those my whole life, like the most, and that's why I feel like I'm solid at those ones more than anything. But then like there's other ones that I just naturally, I think if I practice, I'll get really good at too, which that has been the case.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I've actually never been around Russian people.
Really?
but I think it's one of my strongest accents, to be honest.
Wow.
And people tell me all the time, right?
Yeah.
I don't do this much, but it's just something that comes very easy to me. It's just, I don't know, the way my brain works.
Yeah.
I can pick up on the accents and the rhythms and the cadence of the speech more than others, easier, right?
Mm.
So that's why when I said like Jamaican or like Trini and like Guyanese, it's like the hardest.
Mm.
It's like there's certain things I could say, but it's like after that I'm fucked.
Yeah, it's like how you say it too.
It's how you say it. It's like
yeah.
everyone has different dialects, especially in those cultures as well. It's like there's so many. You can't. I don't want to fuck it up. I don't want to like make them look bad either.
It's
right?
so unique, the Trini Guyanese. I love it so much. When anytime you meet someone from there, it's so prominent. You can tell right away. You're like, yes, let's do.
That's
this.
what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like, funny enough, one of my boys from back home, he is Guyanese, and so I feel like I know a lot about that culture too, but also it's like sometimes when I think of ideas for videos, I don't know what to do with them. It's like I know the accent. It's just like, what do I do with it though?
Right.
I don't want to just do the accent. You know what I'm saying?
In the scenario that works right, that makes it all.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to just like do it just for the fun of it, right? So it's like, I don't know, like all I know, like all I can do for like Guyanese is like, you know, a story I have. I always tell my boys, and we always laugh about it. Is like whenever I'd walk into like my friend Matt's house, his grandmother's always there, and she's always yelling. Whenever we walk in the house, like Machu, you want pepper pot? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know me next daughter. You know me next daughter. She loves pepper pot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she always said that, and like me next daughter, right? It's like there's this like certain.
There's certain words that almost trigger the entire thing.
Yeah. So, but like that's all I know. Like that, like I know more things. It's just that. It's like, what else do I do with that?
Yeah.
Right. It's like you have those certain things, but yeah.
Well, listen, always a pleasure. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you sharing your story and your advice, and then sort of telling us what works for you and what didn't work. And this has been fantastic. I'm excited to see this tour of yours. I think it's going to be fantastic.
100%, man.
You're going to kill it. Yeah.
And just quickly, it's Neema Naz to follow you.
On everything. Yeah. And excuse me, I just burped. I was drinking bubbly, man. I'm not gonna lie.
That's the good stuff. Man.
So anyway, the last thing I want to plug is the last show that we're doing is in Toronto. It's at a theater, and it's gonna be filmed as a special. So
when is
Very
it?
cool.
October 22nd. Well, you'll see it next week. I'll post on my socials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Amazing.
So good to have you, brother.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you very much for coming, brother. Appreciate it.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
I love watching stand up. So
It means a lot.
Like,
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's always a fun time live. Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Well,
we
yeah,
look forward
thanks,
to it.
guys. I
Thank you,
appreciate
brother.
it.
very much, man. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
All right, brother.
Thank you, guys.